The crystal champagne glasses chimed together as my stepfather, Richard Morrison, made a toast at Centric Solutions' annual gala, celebrating another record-breaking year. He grinned, his custom tuxedo gleaming beneath the chandeliers. "And to recognizing your rightful place in the corporate pecking order," he added, locking eyes with me as he said those final words. I maintained a neutral expression, smoothing down my modest black dress. The best I could afford on a secretary's salary. It had been 3 years since I joined Centric, officially as an executive assistant, but in reality, I was secretly creating the software that would disrupt the entire industry. Not that anyone knew that. To them, I was just Emma Chin, the stepdaughter who was meant to stay in her lane. Emma, sweetheart, my mother, Catherine, approached me with a tight smile. "Perhaps you should head back to the registration desk. There are still guests arriving." I knew what she was really saying. Get out of sight before Richard finds another reason to remind everyone of my place. "Of course, Mom." I gave her hand a gentle squeeze. The past 5 years hadn't been easy for her, watching Richard systematically crush my dreams. As I made my way to the entrance, I overheard Richard's booming voice. "Ah, Mr. Phillips, welcome to Centric Solutions. I see you've met my stepdaughter. She's excellent at handling coat checks, isn't she?" James Phillips, CEO of Phillips Global, one of our biggest potential clients, gave me a dismissive glance. If only they knew that the software they would see tomorrow, the one that could save Phillips Global millions, had been entirely written by the coat check girl. My phone buzzed quietly in my clutch. It was a message from Marcus Kane, my secret partner at Nova Technologies, the tech startup I've been building alongside my day job at Centric. Big news. The venture capital round is closed. $500 million valuation. When will you tell them? I smiled, thinking of the laptop hidden in my apartment containing the fully functional version of the software Centric was still struggling to develop. While Richard played the tech mogul, I'd spent every night for 3 years creating something revolutionary. The idea had come to me during my first week as a secretary, observing the company struggle with outdated systems. I tried offering suggestions, drawing from my computer science background at MIT, paid for by my late father's life insurance before my mom married Richard. Richard's response had been swift and ruthless. "No, Emma, you're here because your mother begged me to give you a job. Don't mistake that for actual merit." So I played my part, the quiet, efficient secretary, while secretly building Nova Technologies. I filed patents under my maiden name and developed the very solutions Centric couldn't figure out. "Emma," Richard's sharp voice cut through my thoughts. "Stop daydreaming and help Mrs. Phillips with her coat. And don't wrinkle it. It's probably worth more than your entire yearly salary." If only he knew that my yearly salary had just become pocket change compared to Nova's valuation. But tomorrow would change everything. Tomorrow, Phillips Global would see 2 software demos, one from Centric's struggling team, and one from the mysterious Nova Technologies, the new player shaking up the industry. My phone buzzed again. "Marcus, they just released the press announcement about the funding round. Your stepfather's people will see it any minute." Right on cue, I heard gasps and murmurs as executives checked their phones. Richard's voice rang out. "What do you mean, Nova Technologies? Who are they?" I slipped away to the registration desk, hiding my smile. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't about proving others wrong. It's letting them realize it for themselves. And Richard Morrison was about to learn just how wrong he'd been about his quiet, ambitious stepdaughter. The next morning, Centric's offices were charged with anxious energy. Executives were gathered around their computers, poring over the latest news. Nova Technologies' valuation is $500 million. Record devaluation. Mystery SDA or TPODD2RP Enterprise Market CX. Someone muttered. I sat calmly at my desk outside Richard's office, handling panicked calls while watching the chaos unfold. My stepsister Ashley, recently promoted to VP of Marketing despite lacking qualifications, stormed by in a designer suit. "Daddy," she burst into Richard's office. "Have you seen these articles? This Nova company, they're claiming to have exactly what Phillips Global wants." My phone lit up with a message from Marcus. Phillips' team arrived early. They're asking about Nova's demo. I smiled, recalling how I'd spent the past year cultivating relationships with Phillips' technical team, letting them explore Nova's capabilities while keeping my identity hidden. They had insisted on seeing both companies' demos today. "Emma," Richard barked, "get in here." I walked into his office, notebook in hand. He and Ashley were hunched over his computer, their faces filled with stress. "Cancel everything except the Phillips meeting," he ordered. "And get the development team up here now. If we lose this contract," he trailed off, running a hand through his graying hair. "Of course," I replied, keeping my tone professional, though Nova Technologies has also requested a meeting with Phillips. They're already in conference room B. "What?" Richard exploded. "Who authorized that?" "Mr. Phillips himself," I answered calmly. He insisted on seeing both presentations. Richard's face turned dark. "You knew about this? Why wasn't I informed immediately?" "I sent you 3 memos last week," I reminded him. "They're marked urgent in your inbox." "Don't get smart with me, girl," he snarled. "Just because your mother married me doesn't mean you're irreplaceable." If only he knew how true that was, but not in the way he thought. The next hour was a whirlwind. Centric's development team scrambled to prepare their faulty software. Ashley frantically tried to reach her contacts at Philips Global, only to find they'd all been replaced months ago. My phone buzzed again. "Marcus, everything's ready. Should I start without you?" "No," I texted back. "I'll handle them personally." At exactly 10 a.m., I slipped away from my desk and made my way to conference room B, where the Phillips team waited. James Phillips looked up in surprise when I entered. "Miss Chin," he said. "Isn't this the secretary? There must be some mistake. We're expecting Nova Technologies' representative." I smiled and pulled out my laptop. "No mistake, Mr. Phillips. I'm Emma Chin, CEO of Nova Technologies. Shall we begin?" The demonstration was flawless. 3 years of hidden work had culminated in a revolutionary system, one that could integrate any enterprise operation seamlessly, something Centric's team had never even imagined. "This is incredible," Philips' CTO gasped, watching the system complete in seconds what normally took hours. "When can we implement it?" "Immediately," I replied. "We've developed tailored solutions for your needs, but how did you figure that out?" It clicked. "Those questions you asked about scheduling, gathering requirements. The best way to understand a client's needs is to listen, something Centric's never understood." Suddenly, the door flew open. Richard stood there, his face flushed, holding a tablet showing Nova's press release and my picture as CEO. "You?" he gasped. "This can't be real." "Actually," I said calmly, "it's very real. Your 11 a.m. demo won't be needed, Mr. Phillips, unless you want to compare." Phillips raised an eyebrow. "I don't think that will be necessary. We'll have our legal team draft a contract with Nova immediately." As Phillips and his team left, Richard grabbed my arm. "You deceitful." "Careful," I warned. "You wouldn't want to make a scene in front of our biggest potential client. Or should I say, Nova's biggest client now." His grip loosened as the situation sank in. Without the Phillips deal, Centric's market position was doomed. Their stock was plummeting. "Why?" he whispered. I adjusted my blazer. "Because you taught me to know my place," I smiled. "And my place, as it turns out, is at the top." The next morning, Centrix was spiraling. News of Philips' partnership with Nova triggered a chain reaction. I arrived at Centrix not as an assistant, but as the CEO of their main competitor. The employees who ignored me now stared as I walked through the lobby toward the emergency board meeting Richard was forced to call. My mother was waiting outside the boardroom, tears in her eyes. "Emma, sweetheart, why didn't you tell me? Do you think you could have kept it from Richard?" I asked gently. She shook her head. "I filed for divorce this morning. I should have done it years ago when he started trying to crush your dreams." Inside the boardroom, Richard looked like he aged 10 years. The board members eyed me, calculating. "Well," Richard croaked, "I assume you're here to gloat." "Actually," I opened my laptop, "I'm here to make a proposal." The room fell silent as I pulled up the documents. "Nova Technologies is ready to acquire Centric Solutions," I said calmly. "At a premium, since your stock isn't doing too well this morning." "You want to buy us out?" Ashley screeched. "Daddy, you can't let her. Your father has no choice," I cut in. "The shareholders are calling for his resignation. Without the Philips deal, your stock will continue to dive. And once word gets out about the other contracts I'm about to land." Richard's face drained. "Other contracts?" I grinned. "Did you think Philips was my only client? I spent 3 years learning everything about this company, its weaknesses, its unhappy clients, all while you told me to know my place." The board shifted uncomfortably. Janet Harris spoke up. "What are your terms, Miss Chen?" "Full acquisition. I said. The current staff keeps their jobs, except for senior management. The Centric name will become a subsidiary of Nova Technologies. And what about us? Ashley demanded. What about our family legacy? Your family legacy. I raised an eyebrow. The one my mother helped build before Richard pushed her out. The one where he hired his daughter as VP despite her qualifications being her last name. I turned to the board. Nova Technologies values merit, not nepotism. We promote based on skill, not family ties. Under our leadership, Centric will finally become the tech innovator it should have been. An hour later, Richard sat in stunned silence as the directors eagerly accepted my offer. By lunch, Centric Solutions was mine. As security cleared Richard and Ashley's offices, I found something interesting. A memo from 3 years ago, where I'd outlined the software solution Nova later developed. Richard had dismissed it as overstepping. Should we donate their personal items to charity? My assistant asked. No, I decided. Send them to their homes. Let them keep those designer labels. They'll need something to hold on to. That evening, I sat in my new office, simpler than Richard's extravagant suite, but with a city view. Marcus joined me, bringing coffee in the same paper cups from late-night coding sessions. You could have completely crushed them, he noted. Why the kindness? Because this was never about revenge, I replied. It was about creating something better. I showed him plans for Nova's next initiative, a tech education program for underserved students. Besides, I smiled, success is the best revenge, and nothing says success like turning your stepfather's company into a force for good. The next morning, I called my first company-wide meeting. The changes will be significant: promotions based on merit, innovation incentives, comprehensive benefits. Some of you may have known me as just a secretary. I began. Others never noticed me at all. That's about to change. At Nova, we believe everyone deserves a chance to rise based on their talents. Looking around at the faces, hopeful, nervous, excited, I saw dozens of people like my younger self, full of untapped potential waiting to be seen. A year later, Nova Technologies was featured in Forbes, the secretary who became a tech titan. How Emma Chen revolutionized enterprise software. Richard now runs a small consulting firm in Phoenix. Ashley sells real estate in Miami. Their story became a case study in business schools about the risks of underestimating talent. But this isn't a story about their downfall. It's about what rises when we judge people by their abilities, not their titles. Last week, a young intern stopped me after a meeting. Is it true, she asked, that you built all of this while working as a secretary? I built this, I corrected softly, because I was a secretary. Sometimes the best ideas come from those who see the whole picture, not just the view from the corner office. She smiled, standing taller. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in proving others wrong, but in showing others what's possible. My mother now lives with me, helping run our charitable foundation. She still makes me coffee every morning, but now it's to fuel another day of building something that truly matters. That's the lesson Richard never learned, but it's the one I teach every day. True power isn't about keeping others in their place. It's about helping everyone find their place to shine. Thanks for watching. See you next time, and stay stunned.